Baruch, chapter 51. And it shall come to pass, when that appointed day has gone by, that then shall the aspect of those who are condemned be afterwards changed, and the glory of those who are justified. For the aspect of those who now act wickedly shall become worse than it is, as they shall suffer torments. Also, as for the glory of those who have now been justified in my Torah, who have been understanding in their life, and who have planted in their heart the root of wisdom, then their splendor shall be glorified in changes, and the form of their face shall be turned into the light of their beauty, that they may be able to acquire and receive the world which does not die, which is then promised to them. For over this above all shall those who come then lament, that they rejected my Torah and stopped their ears, that they might not hear wisdom or receive understanding. When therefore they see those over whom they are now exalted, but who shall then be exalted and glorified more than they shall respectively be transformed, the latter into the splendor of angels, and the former shall yet more waste away in wonder at the visions and in the beholding of the forms. For they first shall behold, and afterwards depart to be tormented. But those who have been saved by their works, and to whom the Torah has been now a hope, and understanding, and expectation, and wisdom, a confidence, shall wonders appear in their time. For they shall behold the world which is now invisible to them, and they shall behold the time which is now hidden from them, and time shall no longer age them. For in the heights of that world shall they dwell, and they shall be made like the angels, and be made equal to the stars, and they shall be changed into every form they desire, from beauty into loveliness, and from light into the splendor of glory. For there shall be spread before them the extent of paradise, and there shall be shown to them the beauty of the majesty of the living creatures which are beneath the throne, and all the armies of the angels who are now held fast by my word, lest they should appear, and are held fast by a command, that they may stand in their place till their advent comes. Moreover, there shall then be excellency in the righteous, surpassing that in the angels. For the first shall receive the last, those whom they were expecting, and the last those of whom they used to hear that they had passed away. For they have been delivered from this world of tribulation, and laid down the burden of anguish. For what then have men lost their life, and for what have those who were on the earth exchanged their soul? For then they chose not for themselves this time which beyond the reach of anguish could not pass away, but they chose for themselves that time whose issues are full of lamentations and evils. And they denied the world which ages not those who come to it. And they rejected the time of glory, so that they shall not come to the honor of which I told you before. Chapter 52. And I answered and said, how can we forget those for whom woe is then reserved? And why therefore do we again mourn for those who die? Or why do we weep for those who depart to Sheol? Let lamentations be reserved for the beginning of that coming torment, and let tears be laid up for the advent of the destruction of that time. But even in the face of these things will I speak. And as for the righteous, what will they do now? Rejoice you in the suffering which you now suffer, for why do you look for the decline of your enemies? Make ready your soul for that which is reserved for you, and prepare your souls for the reward which is laid up for you. Chapter 53. And when I had said these things, I fell asleep there, and I saw a vision, and lo, a cloud was ascending from the very great sea. And I kept gazing upon it, and lo, it was full of waters, white and black. And there were many colors in those selfsame waters, and as it were, the likeness of great lightning was seen at its summit. And I saw the cloud passing swiftly in quick concourses, and it was covered all the earth. And it came to pass after these things, that cloud began to pour upon the earth the waters that were in it. And I saw that there was not one and the same likeness in the waters which descended from it. For in the first beginning they were black and many for a time. And afterwards I saw that the waters became bright, and they were not many. And after these things again I saw black waters, and after these things again bright, and again black, and again bright. How this was done 12 times. But the black were always more numerous than the bright. And it came to pass at the end of the cloud that lo, it rained black waters. And they were darker than had been all those waters that were before. And fire was mingled with them. And where those waters descended, they wrought devastation and destruction. And after these things I saw how that lightning which I had seen on the summit of the cloud seized hold of it and hurled it to the earth. Now that lightning shone exceedingly, so as to illuminate the whole earth, and it healed those regions where the last waters had descended and wrought devastation. And it took hold of the whole earth and had dominion over it. And I saw after these things, and lo, 12 rivers were ascending from the sea, and they began to surround that lightning and to become subject to it. And by reason of my fear, I awoke. Chapter 54. And I sought El Elohim and said, You alone, O Yahuah, know of aforetime the deep things of the world, and the things which befall in their times you bring about by your word. And against the works of the inhabitants of the earth you hasten the beginnings of the times, and the end of the seasons you alone know. You for whom nothing is too hard, but who does everything easily by a nod. You to whom the depths come as the heights, and whose word the beginnings of the ages serve. You who reveal to those who fear you what is prepared for them, that thenceforth they may be comforted. You show great acts to those who know not. You break up the enclosure of those who are ignorant, and light up what is dark, and reveal what is hidden to the pure, who in faith have submitted themselves to you and your Torah. You have shown to your servant this vision. Reveal to me also its interpretation. For I know that as regards those things wherein I sought of you, I have received a response. And as regards what I sought of you, did reveal to me with what voice I should praise you, and from what members I should cause praises and hallelujahs to ascend to you. For if my members were mouths, and the hairs of my head voices, even so I could not give you the meat of praise, nor laud you as is befitting, nor could I recount your praise, nor tell the glory of your beauty. For what am I amongst men, or why am I reckoned amongst those who are more excellent than I, that I have heard all these marvelous things from El Elyon, and numberless promises from him who created me? Blessed be my mother among those who bear, and praised among women be she that bore me, for I will not be silent in praising El Elohim, and with a voice of praise I will recount his marvelous deeds. For who does like your marvelous deeds, O Elohim, or who comprehends your deep thought of life? For with your counsel you do govern all the creatures which your right hand has created, and you have established every fountain of light beside you, and the treasures of wisdom beneath your throne have you prepared. And justly do they perish who have not loved your Torah. And the torment of judgment shall await those who have not submitted themselves to your power. For though Adam first sinned and brought untimely death upon all, yet of those who were born from him, each one of them has prepared for his own soul torment to come. And again, each one of them has chosen for himself glories to come. For assuredly, he who believes will receive reward. But now as for you, you wicked that now are, turn you to destruction, because you shall speedily be visited, in that formerly you rejected the understanding of El Elyon. For his works have not taught you, nor has the skill of his creation, which is at all times persuaded you. Adam is therefore not the cause, save only of his own soul, but each of us has been the Adam of his own soul. And you, O Yahuah, do expound to me regarding those things which you have revealed to me, and inform me regarding that which I sought of you. For at the consummation of the world, vengeance shall be taken upon those who have done wickedness according to their wickedness, and you will glorify the faithful according to their faithfulness. For those who are amongst your own you rule, and those who sin you blot out from amongst your own. Chapter 55. And it came to pass when I had finished speaking the words of this prayer, that I sat there under a tree, that I might rest in the shade of the branches. And I wondered and was astonished, and pondered in my thoughts regarding the multitude of goodness which sinners who are upon the earth have rejected, and regarding the great torment which they have despised, though they knew that they should be tormented because of the sin they had committed. And when I was pondering on these things and the like, lo, the angel Ramiel, who presided over true visions, was sent to me, and he said to me, Why does your heart trouble you, Baruch? And why does your thought disturb you? For if owing to the report which you have only heard of judgments you are so moved, what will you be when you shall see it manifestly with your eyes? And if with the expectation wherewith you do expect the day of Elohim, you are so overcome, what will you be when you shall come to its advent? And if at the word of the announcement of the torment of those who have done foolishly, you are so wholly distraught, how much more will the event will reveal marvelous things? And if you have heard tidings of the good and evil things which are then coming and are grieved, what will you be when you shall behold what the majesty will reveal, which shall convict these and cause those to rejoice? Chapter 56. Nevertheless, because you have sought of El Elyon to reveal to you the interpretation of the vision which you have seen, I have been sent to tell you. And El Elohim has assuredly made known to you the methods of the times that have passed, and of those that are destined to pass in his world, from the beginning of its creation even to its consummation, of those things which are deceit, and of those which are in truth. For as you did see a great cloud which ascended from the sea, and went and covered the earth, this is the duration of the world which El Elohim made when he took counsel to make the world. And it came to pass when the word had gone forth from his presence, that the duration of the world had come into being in a small degree, and was established according to the multitude of the intelligence of him who sent it. And as you did previously see on the summit of the cloud black waters, which descended previously on the earth, this is the transgression wherewith Adam and the first man transgressed. For since when he transgressed, untimely death came into being, grief was named, and anguish was prepared, and pain was created, and trouble consummated, and disease began to be established, and Sheol kept demanding that it should be renewed in blood, and the begetting of children was brought about, and the passion of parents produced, and the greatness of man was humiliated, and goodness languished. What therefore can be blacker or darker than these things? This is the beginning of the black waters which you have seen. And from these black waters again were black derived, and the darkness of darkness was produced. For he became a danger to his own soul, even to the angels became he a danger. For moreover, at that time when he was created, they enjoyed liberty, and some of them descended and mingled with the women, and then those who did so were tormented in chains. But the rest of the multitude of the angels, of which there is no number, restrained themselves, and those who dwelt on the earth perished together with them through the waters of the deluge. These are the black first waters. Chapter 57. After these waters you did see bright waters. This is the fount of Abraham, also his generations, and the advent of his son, and of his son's son, and of those like them. Because at that time the unwritten Torah was named amongst them, and the works of the commandments were then fulfilled, and belief in the coming judgment was then generated, and hope of the world that was to be renewed was then built up, and the promise of the life that should come hereafter was implanted. These are the bright waters which you have seen. Chapter 58. And the black third waters which you have seen, these are the mingling of all sins, which the nations afterwards wrought after the death of those righteous men, and the wickedness of the land of Mizraim, wherein they did wickedly in the service wherewith they made their sons to serve. Nevertheless, these also perished at last. Chapter 59. And the bright fourth waters which you have seen are the advent of Moshe and Haron and Miriam and Yahusha the son of Nun and Caleb and of all those like them. For at that time the lamp of the eternal Torah shone on all those who sat in darkness, which announced to those who believe the promise of their reward, and to those who deny the torment of fire, which is reserved for them. But also the heavens at that time were shaken from their place, and those who were under the throne of El Elohim were perturbed, when he was taking Moshe to himself. For he showed him many admonitions together with the principles of the Torah, and the consummation of the times, as also to you, and likewise the pattern of Sion and its measures, in the pattern of which the sanctuary of the present time was to be made. But then also he showed to him the measure of the fire, also the depths of the abyss, and the weight of the winds, and the number of the drops of rain, and the suppression of anger, and the multitude of long-suffering, and the truth of judgment, and the root of wisdom, and the riches of understanding, and the fount of knowledge, and the height of the air, and the greatness of paradise, and the consummation of the ages, and the beginning of the judgment, and the number of the offerings and the earth which have not yet come, and the mouth of Sheol, and the station of vengeance, and the place of faith, and the region of hope, and the likeness of future torment, and the multitude of innumerable angels, and the flaming hosts, and the splendor of the lightning, and the voice of the thunders, and the orders of the chiefs of the angels, and the treasuries of light, and the changes of the times, and the investigations of the Torah. These are the bright fourth waters which you have seen. Chapter 60. And the black fifth waters which you have seen reigning are the works which the Emorine wrought, and the spells of their incantations which they wrought, and the wickedness of their mysteries, and the mingling of their pollution. But even Yasharel was then polluted by sins in the days of the judges, though they saw many signs which were from him who made them. Chapter 61. And the bright sixth waters which you did see, this is the time in which David and Solomon were born. And there was at that time the building of Sion, and the dedication of the sanctuary, and the shedding of much blood of the nations that sinned then, and many offerings which were offered then in the dedication of the sanctuary. And peace and tranquility existed at that time. and wisdom was heard in the assembly. And the riches of understanding were magnified in the assemblies, and the holy feasts were fulfilled in blessedness and in much joy. And the judgment of the rulers was then seen to be without guile, and the righteousness of the precepts of Elohim was accomplished with truth. And the land, which was then beloved by Yahuah, and because its inhabitants sinned not, it was glorified beyond all lands. And the city Sion ruled then over all lands and regions. These are the bright waters which you have seen. Chapter 62. And the black seventh waters which you have seen, this is the perversion brought about by the counsel of Yahweh, who took counsel to make 2 golden calves, and all the iniquities which kings who were after him iniquitously wrought, and the curse of Jezebel and the worship of idols which Yasharel practiced at that time, and the withholding of rain, and the famines which occurred until women ate the fruit of their wombs, and the time of their captivity which came upon the 9 tribes and a half, because they were in many sins. And Shalmaneser, king of Ashur, came and led them away captive. But regarding the other nations, it were tedious to tell how they always wrought impiety and wickedness, and never wrought righteousness. These are the black seventh waters which you have seen. Chapter 63. And the bright 8th waters which you have seen, this is the rectitude and uprightness of Hezekiah, king of Yehudah, and the grace of Elohim which came upon him. For when Sancheriah was stirred up in order that he might perish, and his wrath troubled him in order that he might thereby perish, for the multitude also of the nations which were with him. When, moreover, Hezekiah the king heard these things which the king of Ashur was devising, that he was coming to seize him and destroy his people, the 2.5 tribes which remained. Nay, more, he wished to overthrow Sion also. Then Yahusha trusted in his works and had hope in his righteousness, and spoke with Elohim and said, Behold, for lo, Sancheriah is prepared to destroy us, and he will be boastful and uplifted when he has destroyed Sion. And Elohim heard him, for Hezekiah was wise, and he had respect to his prayer, because he was righteous. And thereupon Elohim commanded Ramiel, his angel, who speaks with you. And I went forth and destroyed their multitude, the number of whose chiefs only was 185,000, and each one of them had an equal number at his command. And at that time I burned their bodies within. But their raiment and arms I preserved outwardly, in order that the still more wonderful deeds of Elohim might appear, and that thereby his name might be spoken of throughout the whole earth. And Sion was saved, and Jerusalem delivered. Yasharel also was freed from tribulation. And all those who were in the Holy Land rejoiced, and the name of Elohim was glorified, so that it was spoken of. These are the bright waters which you have seen. 2 Baruch, chapter 64. And the black 9th waters which you have seen, this is all the wickedness which was in the days of Manasseh the son of Hezekiah. For he wrought much impiety, and he slew the righteous, and he perverted judgment. And he shed the blood of the innocent, and wedded women he violently polluted. And he overturned the altars and destroyed their offerings, and drove forth their priests, lest they should minister in the sanctuary. And he made an image with 5 faces. 4 of them looked to the 4 winds, and the 5th, on the summit of the image, was an adversary of the zeal of Elohim. And then wrath went forth from the presence of Elohim, to the intent that Zion should be rooted out, as also it befell in your days. But also against the 2.5 tribes went forth a decree that they should also be led away captive, as you have now seen. And to such a degree that the impiety of Manasseh increased, that it removed the praise of El Elyon from the sanctuary. On this account, Manasseh was at that time named the Impious. And finally, his abode was in the fire. For though his prayer was heard with El Elyon, finally when he was cast into the brazen horse, and the brazen horse was melted, it served as a sign to him for the hour. For he had not lived perfectly, for he was not worthy, but that thenceforward he might know by whom finally he should be tormented. For he who is able to benefit is also able to torment. Chapter 65. Thus, moreover, did Manasseh act impiously and thought that in his time El Elohim would not inquire into these things. These are the black 9th waters, which you have seen. Chapter 66. And the bright 10th waters, which you have seen, this is the purity of the generations of Yoshin-Yahu, king of Yahudah, who was the only one at that time who submitted himself to El Elohim with all his heart and with all his soul. And he cleansed the land from idols, and sanctified all the vessels which had been polluted, and restored the offerings to the altar, and raised the horn of the holy, and exalted the righteous, and honored all that were wise in understanding, and brought back the priests to their ministry, and destroyed and removed the magicians and enchanters and the necromancers from the land. And not only did he slay the impious that were living, but they also took from the sepulchres the bones of the dead and burned them with fire. And the feasts and the shabbats he established in their sanctity, and their polluted ones he burnt in the fire. And the lying prophets which deceived the people, these also he burnt in the fire. And the people who listened to them when they were living, he cast them into the brook Kidron, and heaped stones upon them. And he was zealous with zeal for El Elohim with all his soul. And he alone was firm in the Torah at that time, so that he left none that was uncircumcised, or that wrought impiety in all the land all the days of his life. Therefore he shall receive an eternal reward, and he shall be glorified with El Elohim beyond many at a later time. For on his account, and on account of those who, like him, were the honorable glories of which you were told before, created and prepared. These are the bright waters which you have seen. Chapter 67. And the black 11th waters which you have seen, this is the calamity which is now befalling Zion. Do you think that there is no anguish in the angels in the presence of El Elohim, that Zion was so delivered up, and that, lo, the other nations boast in their hearts, and assemble before their idols and say, she is trodden down, who oft times trod down, and she has been reduced to servitude that reduced others. Do you think that in these things El Elyon rejoices, or that his name is glorified? But how will it serve towards his righteous judgment? Yet after these things shall the dispersed among the other nations be taken hold of by tribulation, and in shame shall they dwell in every place. Because so far as Zion is delivered up, and Jerusalem laid waste, shall idols prosper in the cities of the other nations. And the vapor of the smoke of the incense of the righteousness which is by the Torah is extinguished in Zion. And in the region of Zion, in every place, lo, there is the smoke of impiety. But the king of Babel will arise, who has now destroyed Zion, and he will boast over the people, and he will speak great things in his heart in the presence of El Elyon. But he also shall fall at last. These are the black waters. Chapter 68. And the bright 12th waters which you have seen, this is the word. For after these things a time will come when your people shall fall into distress, so that they shall turn, all run and risk and perish together. Nevertheless, they will be saved, and their enemies will fall in their presence. And they will have in due time much joy. And at that time, after a little interval, Sion will again be built, and its offerings will again be restored. And the priests will return to their ministry, and also the other nations will come to glorify it. Nevertheless, not fully as in the beginning, but it will come to pass after these things that there will be the fall of many nations. These are the bright waters which you have seen. Chapter 69. For the last waters which you have seen, which were darker than all that were before them, those which were after the 12th number, which were collected together, belong to the whole world. For El Elyon made divisions from the beginning, because he alone knows what will befall. For as to the enormities and the impieties which should be wrought before him, he foresaw 6 kinds of them. And of the good works of the righteous which should be accomplished before him, he foresaw 6 kinds of them, beyond those which he should work at the consummation of the age. On this account there were not black waters with black, nor bright with bright, for it is the consummation. Chapter 70. Hear therefore the interpretation of the last black waters, which are to come after the black. This is the word. Behold, the days come, and it shall be when the time of the age has ripened, and the harvest of its evil and good seeds has come, that El Elohim will bring upon the earth and its inhabitants and upon its rulers perturbation of the Ruach and stupor of heart. And they shall hate one another and provoke one another to fight. And the mean shall rule over the honorable, and those of low degree shall be extolled above the famous. And the many shall be delivered into the hands of the few, and those who are nothing shall rule over the strong. And the poor shall have abundance beyond the rich, and the impious shall exalt themselves above the heroic. And the wise shall be silent, and the foolish shall speak. Neither shall the thought of men be then confirmed, nor the counsel of the mighty, nor shall the hope of those who hope be confirmed. And when these things which were predicted have come to pass, then shall confusion fall upon all men. And some of them shall fall in battle, and some of them shall perish in anguish, and some of them shall be destroyed by their own. Then El Elyon will reveal those people whom he has prepared before, and they shall come and make war with the leaders that shall then be left. And it shall come to pass that whosoever gets safe out of the war shall die in the earthquake. And whosoever gets safe out of the earthquake shall be burned by the fire. And whosoever gets safe out of the fire shall be destroyed by famine. And it shall come to pass that whosoever of the victors and the vanquished gets safe out of and escapes all these things aforesaid will be delivered into the hands of my servant Mashiach, for all the earth shall devour its inhabitants. Chapter 71. And the Holy Land shall have mercy on its own, and it shall protect its inhabitants at that time. This is the vision which you have seen, and this is the interpretation. For I have come to tell you these things because your prayer has been heard with El Elyon.